my God, the sound. How do you make a soft pear noisy?
Do you know what Mark did? He cut up a pear for me and it was so lovely. I've never had a pear cut up for me my whole adult life.
Topped and tailed and cored.
I really, really loved it.
Oh, come here, babe.
Thank you. Thank you for my pear.
Get nothing for a pear, not in this
Show them
game.
the pear, get a pear.
I think they know what a pear looks like.
I want to
don't
be really clear on what pear you have to buy. You have to
Conference.
buy Conference.
Conference
These
pears.
are the only pears, as far as I'm concerned, that are worth eating.
It's true.
I love them. I could eat a pear for 3 minutes. You know what I could have? I could have a pear with walnuts for breakfast, with a lump of cheese for lunch, and with pecans for dinner.
Okay.
If they were all as perfect as this.
Can we stop the fucking pear conversation? You did it on
I
Instagram.
love a conference.
I know.
They
but
won't give us on
I'd
Instagram.
rather be in a conference room than talking about conference pears. with you. We're here to talk about rules of the game. Sorry for anyone who's come in just for the review or the reaction. You just have to wait because we talk bullshit a lot of the time.
Why are you talking in a low voice? It's really weird.
Because Kiki's in
Yeah,
bed.
but this low seems silly.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Why are we in a
Listen,
dark
Mr.
tunnel?
Vorsprung durch technique with your Swedish glasses.
My name is Jürgen.
Who was that guy who was the famous football manager?
Sven-Göran
Eriksson.
Eriksson.
That's who you look like.
Well, apart from he's bald.
So do I look like, what was his wife's name?
Ulrika Johnson.
No.
Didn't he have a
That was
fling?
when he had an affair.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What was his wife's name? Do you remember she was so Italian? And I was interviewing...
Oh, yes.
I was
Pamela.
I was interviewing
Sarah.
her on Lorraine, right? And I asked her a question and she answered me and I thought she was speaking Italian.
Oh, Nads. So
No,
did
but
you
I-
answer in an
I
Italian
couldn't understand
accent?
a single word she
What
said.
did you do?
So I was praying a producer would have said something to me in my ear. Well, I just sort of buffled my way
Nancy
through it.
Delorio.
Yeah.
Nancy DeLorean. I always thought her name was
Delolio.
Nancy DeLorean.
But he had a thing with,
Delolio.
he had a thing with Ulrika, you're right.
He did. He had a big thing with Ulrika.
Did he?
Apparently he's a bit of a womp.
No, yeah.
How have we got to Sven-Göran Eriksson?
of your
Oh, my Jürgen glasses. Welcome, my name is Jürgen. I work in tech. Okay, so this is Rules of the Game, starring one of Nadia's and mine's favourite actresses, Maxine Peake.
Well, she used to be.
Oh, what are you saying? Okay, so starring Maxine Peake, what did you guys think of it before we get cracking with our acerbic wit and sharpened pencils and scalpels? What did you think, guys? Oh, Nanny Di's here. Mum, what did you make of it?
Did you watch it, Nanny Di?
Mum, did you love it? What did you think of Maxine Peake, Mum? What did you think? Maxine Peake, one of our finest actors,
I know,
Helen
I loved
H.
her. I've loved her in everything else I've
I
seen her, but I
agree.
didn't like her tonight.
I don't think she was given much to do tonight. I think she had to just look malevolent and suspicious all the time. Absolutely
We need
loving
to-
it.
we
Shelley
need to-
Silver, wow. Maxine Peake plays a fantastic part, so opposite to the part in Anne. Really enjoyed it. It was brilliant. Cheryl Newby was good, a bit slow though.
That's what I thought. I felt we had too many languishing shots of her looking cross. And I mean, it hotted up towards the end.
It sped up in the
I'll
last
tell you
5
what the
minutes,
problem is
didn't
for
it?
me at the moment,
Go for it.
believability.
Can I just say one of my major problems with it? It's going to be, and I think it can resolve this. I think this might change. Can I just say a really particular shout out to Rakhi Thakrar.
Loved her.
She's brilliant.
For me, so far, she's the best thing in it.
She's the star of the piece. So she's incredibly authentic as an HR woman who's got her
Really
own kind of
good.
vulnerabilities. She's
She's
taking
doing
drugs.
a very detailed
Yeah.
performance
Yeah,
as
she
well.
really
It's
is.
very, very layered. You believe she does yoga. You believe she's
Yeah.
trying desperately to centre herself. You were terrified for her when her
Yeah.
violent husband turned up. I believed her. I had a real problem believing some of the other characters.
My mum doesn't like Maxine Peake. That's curious. Oh, there you go. I agree. She was the only one I felt who was real. But again, she was given the most to do, the most meaningful stuff to do.
Well, I think that's unfair to her as an actress. I think she could have given a leaden performance where she was just saying the words, but she had a layered performance, and that's why when
Yeah.
she made a simple comment about yoga, we believed her.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not that she was given more, it was that she did very well with what she
Well,
had.
I thought she was excellent. I thought she was really good. I tell you the thing that I really struggled with in it.
Lot of hammy
it's
acting.
obvious. It's obvious. No, it's obviously going to be about corporate culture. It's obviously going to be revolving around the way in which men in that corporate environment operate. And this is going to be really weird and simple. I couldn't escape the fact that they clearly rented those offices to shoot in. I didn't believe the space in which they were all working.
We were saying this, the thing is, we're all very spoilt with American drama, aren't we? Yeah. And it's so believable, and it felt so TV set.
It felt TV set. In fact, I know it was upstairs at BBC.
He knows it. He sat on the orange sofa.
I've sat on the orange sofa. It's BBC Worldwide.
BBC.
And I know offices can only look like offices, but there's something else. I mean, think of The Office, for example. There was a real sense of people that lived in that office, worked in that office. And I just didn't buy it. So I just kind of wasn't sold.
You're right, Helen H. The girl struggling with alcohol is good as well. I was about to say that. She's good. She's good.
Now,
I think the woman that plays the Botox, I think the director needed to bring her down 3 notches, because it's just, again... how believable was that conversation that she and the wife is struggling with her sex life and worrying about being overweight. That, to me, wasn't really how women talk. You would have lowered your voice a bit, the therapist. And so I was a bit off kilter right at the beginning. I thought, I'm not believing this. This is acting. This isn't being.
Georgina Hawkey, I'm so pleased you asked the same question as me. Did we find out who had died? Nadia seemed absolutely certain as to who had died. How were you so certain?
Because I think it's the girl with the alcohol problem.
You think it's the girl. We don't know it's the girl.
It will be. I suppose it could be the HR girl.
Who do we think's
could be the HR girl.
Exactly. Who do we think's thrown themselves over? Because obviously it's being told in flashback.
I've just had a thought. Maybe the HR... Right, because obviously they threw her off the balcony after she died, because there was blood dripping.
There was no handprints. There were no fingerprints.
But before that was blood dripping.
Yeah, but also the cop went to great lengths of saying there were no fingerprints.
Well, we know that, but more importantly, the detail to begin with, when there was blood dripping through the ceiling when she first arrived at work. So maybe actually the HR woman has been murdered.
I think that.
And they threw her over the balcony to cover up.
Helen H. It's
because she thinks it's her old problem with the old guys, all the guys that have raped, that have done drugs.
A culture of misogynistic control.
That's why I find it
Helen H. is saying it's the friend of the alcoholic who died. There's confusion here. There are basically 2 deaths.
We're going to flashback and come back.
There's the flashback stuff is happening. Is the friend of the woman in the office who was caught on CCTV having sex and is having a bit of a breakdown. And then there's the death that we don't know who it is, who fell over the top of the banister.
Yeah, and that's present.
That's present.
That's
but
in
you
the
were,
HR
you were
story.
so certain about who that was that I almost fell off my chair.
Well, I think it's either the alcoholic girl or it's the HR girl.
Can't be. The alcoholic girl's too obvious.
But
what did we think of the men?
Listen, my problem. I've got lots of problems with this drama, but the premise of it is just it's really difficult, because they obviously all know that they have a huge amount to cover up. Right, you've got murders, you've got rapes, you've got drug use.
The last thing they'd be doing is an IPO.
Why would they be floating the company, as she said, all of the investigations go, with all of that to cover up, with no files on people? And so I've got a problem, believability problem with it.
What did you think of the moment where our main woman, the HR woman, went into the head's office and just chugged the whiskey?
Yeah. Well, I think why we had that, because it was completely out of character.
No, you were marvelling at how tasty Rubicon was, aren't you?
Did you? It was quite nice.
No, I mean, it's quite a taste.
No, I'm not getting involved in Rubicon. You've been trying to get me to drink that for years. I've drunk it by accident.
Hang on. And what was it like?
It was nice.
It threw you totally off track.
But don't ever get it again. It's full of sugar and horrible numbers.
Oh, it's a joy. It's a joy. Yes? What?
I like it.
You can have some more if you want.
There's none in there.
There's enough. There's enough to keep me going all night.
I think.
Nadia is stopping and thinking before she talks.
I know, it's really
Cafe
annoying
B.
me.
Yeah,
I think that this is what people do, isn't it? When they talk normally, they do, and I get a bit annoyed. I'm like, come on,
hurry up. Well, I wish you would fucking hurry up.
The reason that she drank the alcohol in the way that she did, it was to let us know, because we already knew that was so out of character for her. Very good acting again, you see, we knew her. it was to illustrate just how totally petrified she is of the man that was downstairs in reception.
Who thinks Maxine Peake has been systematically and culturally within the corporate culture bashed down so that she thinks she likes that kind of aggressive come on from that guy? Because it was that classic thing of he went hard on her and then she pushed him away and then she was like, oh no, take... But do you think she's
No,
as
I
much...
think
do you
she's
think
always
she's
been
a
a part
victim
of
of the
it.
culture? Yeah, but...
Yeah, I think she is part of the culture. I think, yeah.
Yeah, but at what point does a woman who becomes part of the culture actually a victim of the culture because it's the only way she can fit
Well,
in?
not all women are. There are some not very pleasant women.
Oh, true, not all women are
I mean,
victims.
she's clearly an absolutely, you know,
Sorry.
she's
A madam.
she's a megalomaniac.
Yes, she is. She's not
And
very
so,
nice.
And so you can, just because she's a woman doesn't mean she's not very nice.
It's-
She couldn't be a
and I have to
megalomaniac and couldn't be a bit like,
Yeah.
you know, have a few of her own.
What
What are they called?
Mr. Whippies?
Oh no, not quirks, not perks, kinks.
Kinks, right. Helen H. more seriously says, make me want a Mr. Whippy. There's a very,
Me too.
a very curious
What,
scene
she
where they
put
were
a
all
fag
walking
out
around the
in
office.
it?
Yeah, that wasn't very nice, was it?
Oh, and that scene when
and
they
then
were all
handed it to-
everybody had an ice cream. Suddenly we were in an episode of Grange Hill.
Yeah. Someone's just said you've ballsed your 16-8 up with the Rubicon.
I really have. No, but I did with a pair. I
Yeah.
threw caution to the wind.
Faith Goodman.
You didn't see me balls it up on Instagram.
Faith Goodman says, HR lady's ex-husband is awful and she did not hear neighbour that he has her door key.
I know.
So he's going to mess with her mind, moving things or just appearing in her own house. Yes, I forgot, we've got him. I marvel at men who have such thick facial hair growth. They must be like stalks coming out. You must have kissed a man that has that. Doesn't it so abrasive?
That's why I hate it when you don't show
I know,
it.
but men that
It's
are just,
horrific. But
by
you
the
do
end
it.
of the day, they're like...
But you're a man. You're a man
They're
and
like
you do it.
Desperate Dan. Anyway,
But
it's
you're
one
a
of
man
them.
and you do it.
I didn't buy that scene. I didn't believe it. I actually thought she was her weakest in that scene, the HR woman, because she was
Yeah.
asked to suddenly be all these things in reception. It just wasn't very good. And I really don't like the men in this, and I know you're not supposed to. Cheating husband, Elijah says. I think it's the cheating husband who was killed.
Oh, do you?
Oh. Okay, all of you tell us who you think's been killed. This is a good one.
I tell
Who
you
done it? Who is it?
an interesting moment when Maxine Peake is asked a question by the policewoman and she said, "Ask HR."
Yeah.
It made me feel like it could be the HR woman because she's the one who caused the mess, and isn't it weird now that she's dead?
Yeah. Yeah. What are you saying?
I think it's funny how so many of us are saying cheating husband because that's
Cheating
what
husband,
they do.
I think, was killed because that's the one we'd all want
I
to
never
kill.
thought it was the cheating
The
husband.
HR woman, HR being killed. HR, the guy with the beard is his name, Gary. Itch's face, agree. Thank you, Della. Okay. Who scratched her car when she was with her
husband.
I think it's the husband.
Definitely.
Yeah, Nadia's right on that. Alison Steadman.
I love Alison Steadman.
She was good.
Years ago, she was in a play that I saw a couple of times actually, and she had this extraordinary scene where she had to get really... Good, I'm glad you had the sugar. I didn't want it. And the E numbers. And she had to get drunk through this scene, probably about 7 minute scene in this play. And she managed to believably get drunk over a sort of 6-7 minute scene. And it was just astonishing. In fact, I went back to see the play just to watch that scene. She was so good.
Right.
She's so lovely as well. I've interviewed her lots of times. She's adorable.
Clodagh Egan says that Maxine's character shredded Hugh's file when he left, so she's hiding something.
Oh, she's hiding everything.
She's hiding everything. And her face is her heavy, dour character is etched on her face, isn't it?
Hi, Ruth. She hasn't watched the programme. She just wanted to say hello. Hello, Ruth Blanford.
Reese was just asking, on a scale of 1 to 5, where would we pop it? Well,
What, one being the worst drama we've ever seen.
Well, yeah, only for episode 1. Screw I would put at 1. This I'd put at about 2.5.
Yeah.
I think it's got potential.
Yeah.
And I think you've always got to forego, apart from Screw, I think you've always, although a few people have said Screw gets better.
I said to Mark, we have really, really got to park all the great dramas that we
give us
watch.
your scores, guys.
Things like Succession, things like...
4.
Huh?
Sorry, go on, I'm just reading out the numbers.
Things
that
like
people are giving.
Succession, things like... What's the other brilliant ones we've seen recently?
Well,
God.
unfortunately, it's
English,
Euphoria.
the Great English
Euphoria.
Sandbox, Euphoria. All these things which are right up there. We have to put this almost in a different genre. These are everyday dramas.
I disagree.
They're kind of like...
I disagree because you look at
it's
something like a
hard.
very... Did anyone see a Very British Scandal? And
That's what I'm saying.
but that shows you just
No, but
how
I would
brilliantly
put that up with
British can
Ozarks
do
and
it.
Succession and quality. So that's
Ozark.
quality dramas. Whereas this is more chuckaway drama.
Mayor of Easttown, good example.
Mayor of Easttown. These are all like off the scale, so we can't compare. We can't be compared. We have to say this is chuckaway drama, and that's like 5-star drama.
Well, for chuckaway drama, I'll give it 5 out of 5.
Chuckaway drama.
I fucking loved it.
It's 3 out of 5.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, no, for chuckaway drama.
Those chuckaway dramas like those things on ITV with the
like Crown Court.
no, not Crown Court, but
Crossroads.
oh, Mark, it's so annoying. Don't give me a moment to think.
You need to think. Find
You're
your words.
talking about bloody programmes from 30 years ago. You speak.
Well, I think you're right, and I think sort of pulling the blind down and taking a less severe attitude to it, I think it was quite good. I quite enjoyed it.
It was all right.
It was all right. I'm lying. It was all right. It was all right. Dexter, New Blood, BBC is best, smaller budget maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
no,
that's
it's
what
definitely
you
got a
could say.
smaller budget. But even with each location, you could achingly feel the hand of the location manager having secured
having
the
a
deal.
certain amount of pennies.
Yeah.
So and you know, and the other thing is when you're on a tight budget, they don't get as many takes, they don't get rehearsals, so you don't get that real cohesion between the cast and everything. So
Was anyone else watching out for the
budget drama?
Was anyone else watching out for the continuity of the ice creams in that scene?
Well, you've become a bit obsessed with that ice cream.
Yeah. Well, it's just always a nightmare to do that
But,
sort of thing.
but
Anyway,
it's a budget drama, that's
Yeah.
what I would say, compared to all the really classy stuff that we love.
yeah, and as Elijah
It's
says,
all right.
a lot of people only have mainstream channels.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so there's the inability to be able to watch other stuff.
You know, if I
It was all
wasn't
right, though. It
watching,
was all right.
if I wasn't watching the Ozarks and the Euphoria and all, that's all part of our job. We watch. I would probably quite settle down for it. That's the thing. I think that we just.
Well, I thought it got much. Of course, the bait has been laid in the last 5 minutes, hasn't it? I mean,
so next episode, I'm
next
quite looking forward
episode
to.
we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
So, guys, share your thoughts below. Tell us what you think. We'll see you in the morning. Yeah.
Love you lot.
Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you on the other side. Sleep. You're not. Shall we get another? Oh, what's happened there? Shall we get another?